Well, hey, this is Jerry with What's Broke Today. Today we're underneath 99 F550 truck with a flatbed on it. It has a 7.3 liter diesel, and I went ahead and shut it off, but you can probably see the trail coming down from the dipstick tube area where it goes into the oil pan. That I imagine there's plenty of other videos showing you a repair on this, but I just thought I'd give you a picture before I even started. That you can see where somebody in the past has tried to reseal it with silicone, and I mean, it's still running down the outside of the pan. And I moved back a little, you can see where it's been coming out enough that it's actually almost washed the side of the pan coming down. And that is my major leak that he brought it in for, I think. The secondary leak isn't quite as bad, but it still looks like quite a bit of oil. And it looks like it's coming from the valve cover on the our driver's side of the truck. That, I mean, you can see, you know, it's all wet over here. So I'm going to look up parts and then get a hold of him and see what he wants to do. But I think I was doing some looking on this dipstick. I think, yeah, I've seen all the high dollar fixes. I've seen the Dorman kit where you can go in there and just change the O-ring. And I think, knowing the guy that owns the truck, and I've even got a 7.3 diesel in one of my trucks, I think I'm going to order 2 of these kits off of eBay. That I think they're about $35 or $37 each. But they look just like that $300 one that one of the diesel shops sells. So I'll get around and call him and then figure out what he wants to do, and I'll get back to the video when we get to doing repairs. Now we're back underneath our truck, and of course I got the starter off, and everything's all nasty around where that dipstick goes in. So I'm gonna shut the camera off because I don't really want to get all the brake clean and this gunk all over my camera. But you know, to start her off, you can see how it looks above that fitting. Then we come right below it, you can see where it had been they've siliconed it, but how the pan is just so clean from that fitting down. And when it was running, you could lay underneath there and watch the oil trickle down through that trail. So, but I'm gonna get her cleaned up. Then I got my baby tripod. I'm gonna try and run the camera the whole time I'm changing out that fitting. So I'll be back. All right, I'm back. That I've got the oil pan cleaned up, and for the next step, I've got pick tools, my Allen on a socket with a ratchet, some black ultra black silicone, if I can get the words out of my mouth. I got my new piece to go on the oil pan, which basically what we're going to do with, when I get the old piece out, this bolt comes out, and I'm going to try and film all of this. And then of course gotta make sure these O-rings, because this is a double O-ring seal. And then basically we're gonna put this end up in the oil pan and get it in the hole, and then we'll rotate this around and get it lined up, because see, it has the notch here where that piece comes through the oil pan. And look at my oil pan. I think that's why I got the silicone. I'm going to silicone around these O-rings as well. But the big key is if you, before I cleaned it up, you can see all the orange silicone, which is right here. I mean, I got big globs of it. We do not want any of this getting down in that oil pan, if at all possible. So I got up there and cleaned good, because they had this, I mean, packed up around the dipstick tube and on that piece. And when I take that apart, I'm going to pull the dipstick out of the hole here, and then that big nut that's holding it in, I'm going to take I got a piece of baling wire I use, and just make it where it'll, kind of goes down in the hole, but where you can push it through. So basically, because when I initially take that nut off, I don't want the piece to fall inside the oil pan, so I make this kind of like a hook, and it'll hook on the inside of that old piece, on the back side, and then I'm going to get the nut and slide it up off the wire, and then so I got an assortment of pick tools, because I'm hoping I can use just a 90-degree one and get that thing inside the hole, pick the O-ring out of the groove and the old inner nut, and then try and pull out with this one. If not, I got one that has more of a hook. I can actually get around it, and I can pull it out and get it out of the way so the O-ring's not in there. I don't want none of the silicone in the oil pan. And then I want to get this in there. Of course, I'll wipe down where the O-rings are going to meet the oil pan, and I'm going to get this in there, which this wire won't be through the new one. And then once I get that piece where that notch is locked into the pan, which I don't know if you can see that, but there's like two little hole, divots in that. If I get that locked in the oil pan, and that clocks this where it needs to be, and of course the back end of this bolt they've messed up the threads, so I can put this in here, and I can loosen that up, and I can just turn this around. I can lift that up, and then I can put this through there and get it started. And once I get it started, as long as I hold that up tight, this will pull up and sandwich this to the oil pan. And I'm also going to use red thread lock, because I don't ever want those bolts to come loose. And I believe, the bolts here are stainless, but the rest of this, I believe, is just strictly a high quality aluminum. That this is not the $300 one you see online. This is the $35 one you see on eBay. And of course it comes with new O-rings for the dipstick tube. And throughout this video, I'm going to probably film the whole thing, but I may edit out some stuff just because it's going to be such a long video. But you're going to have to get up here and up top, and if you can see, the dipstick is on one of the valve cover bolts right behind the bracket for the air conditioner. And when I take that nut loose, you can see where it moves. And basically I'm going to gently pull this up. I need to pull the dipstick out first, but when we get back underneath, the dipstick should not be sticking in the oil pan. And we just need that out of the way. Now I'm going to get everything set up, and then we'll get to filming again. Now, got my 2 O-rings on my dipstick tube, and then I just spray a little bit of rust penetrant on a rag to lube them up. And see here, yeah, I've already put this back in, as we can see. When I had that lined up where it was supposed to be, because last time I didn't think it was lined up in the right spot. You notice it don't go down at the right angle. So I almost thought about making him buy a new dipstick tube, but I think I can just do a little bit of manipulation and get it where I want it. As you can see, I'm getting her slowly lined up with the hole. The big key will be as I get it down in the hole. I have to get it off the exhaust, because I should have made him buy a new one. But yeah, I may not get both O-rings down in the hole. There we go. Now let me get up top. It's got to get on top of that stud up top so I can put the nut back on it. Oh yeah, and that, I was not even close to being on that stud. Okay, let's go back up top, where we're at, because I think I came off that stud. Well, I was not as far off up there as I thought I was, so of course I got both of the O-rings down in there, which, so I get the right angle, yeah, so I got them both down in there, and they slid smooth. I don't really like that up on the exhaust, but I don't know there's much I can do about it. But all right, well, that's the gist to getting this repair done. That yeah, I'll say yeah, you'll see other videos where they leave the starter on there, which is okay, but you know, no more longer than it takes to take 2 wires off. Take the starter off and get it out of the way, and probably next thing I'll be doing is the valve cover gasket on this side. I did the other side, but he was just wanting the major leaks fixed, so we got that, and yeah, I'll say I'm gonna finish putting this back together. Well, that about wraps up our 99 F550 getting the oil pan dipstick thing replaced. That I guess key things to remember that I did was got all that old silicone off there, because we didn't want none of that in the oil pan. We didn't want any dirt from around the outside of that getting in the oil pan. Likewise, I wanted to take out that old O-ring, but since it wasn't there, I assume it's already in the oil pan, and the odds of getting that out, not real good. I guess you could go up through the dipstick with that baling wire and try and fish around and get it out, and I may still try that, I'm not sure. We'll just kind of have to wait and see when we get to that. Now, since I did silicone that where it went onto the oil pan, I'm actually going to finish it tomorrow. That I want to let that silicone set up before I actually put the oil back in the motor. Also put a new filter on since we're getting new oil in it, and I also replaced the driver's side valve cover gasket and the wiring harness under the valve cover because it was leaking on the back corner, and it turned out the oil pan was actually bent. I think whoever probably changed that last, I would imagine didn't get that hidden bolt that's by the firewall out, and went to pull the oil pan. Took everything was easy to get to, and then left that one, and then tried to peel it off there and pried and bent the pan. And that's why it leaked, because it wasn't, instead of being a flat surface, it had a bow in it that you could lay underneath the truck and actually watch the oil kind of spit and spurt out and run down the rear corner. So, but I'll get the oil in it, get everything filled back up, and then then start it and run it and make sure I don't have any other leaks that I've got. Looks like a small leak at the passenger side valve cover, but it's probably not too much, because some of that I know the guy that owns the truck told me he spilt a bunch of oil one day when he was adding oil, because this oil leak that it had, depending on how he parked the truck, determined how much it leaked. So if the dipstick, our passenger side of the truck, was low, it'd leak lots of oil. If the passenger side was a high point, it wouldn't leak at all. So, and that was so loose down there, there's no chance of it ever fixing that piece that was there. That Dorman sells a kit that has the O-ring and a thing to hold it up there, so you can fish the new O-ring in and try and get it in that bracket, and then pull it back through the hole and screw the nut on. Which those threads were messed up, so you you could have got it back up there, but you couldn't tighten the nut. As soon as you go to tighten it, it'd pop off. So that's why I put the kit on that I did. So I hope you find this video was helpful. If it was, I'd appreciate the like. Please subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next time on What's Broke Today. Have a great day.